Brothers and sisters, good evening. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to the second night of our parish mission in English. Muy buenas tardes. Bienvenido a la Santa Misión en inglés. Wait, hold on. Okay. We are going into our second night, and just as a reminder, we'll begin with the Holy Rosary. Then there will be just a brief instruction on adoration, which will change it up if you were here yesterday. Always something a little bit different, so that we can enter into this year of Eucharistic revival and deepen our understanding of the Eucharist. And then we'll have Eucharistic adoration, and then we'll have the recitation of a couple of prayers. Some of you who were here yesterday, you saw the old school prayers. It is Throwback Tuesday, so we're going to throw it back. If it ain't broke and it still works, I think we should use it. Amen? Amen. And then it's going to be a reflection within the context of Eucharistic adoration. and I'm very happy that you guys are here, because I need you guys to pray for me, because I'm going to be preaching about something that's very tough, and I need your prayers, because it's some things we need to be reminded of, and sometimes it's not easy even for the preachers to kind of put some thoughts together on something that's very necessary. And then after that, we're going to have moments of silence with adoration. And I should interject. The good fathers here, the good community here at St. Michael's is asking you all, inviting you all in this holy mission to contribute to the work that we're doing in the poor areas of the inner cities in New York, in Central America, and forming young people who have very few resources. So before the Divine Mercy Chaplet, there's going to be a collection. If I could just ask beforehand for your generosity. It's quite common for us to provide for the needs of others. This is very scriptural, and I thank you in advance for your generosity. Then we'll pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and then we'll have benediction, and then this will finish up the night. Once again, the Rosary. The Rosary is quite a powerful, powerful prayer. I shared on Sunday with some of you that my mother, after her reversion, she went on pilgrimage to Europe to a place called Medjugorje, and she came back completely different. And the first thing that she did is she said, we're going to pray the Rosary every night. Now, at this point, I was a teenager, so you can imagine the conflicts that arose in my own home. I, Lord help me, did anything I could to escape praying the Rosary. I'm sorry, it's just true. I would say, oh, I'm getting so tired. I'm going to pray I'm going to go to sleep, Mom. And she said, okay. But it was like 6 o'clock in the evening. And so what she did is she just went into my room and prayed the Rosary. Ooh, got me. Praying the Rosary is powerful, because little by little, it kind of melted my hardened heart. And I do believe that through the prayer of the Rosary, my life was changed. But even praying the Rosary, I hope I'm not giving you guys some good ideas. I'm telling you guys what not to do. Because what I learned is that if I led the Rosary, it got done quick. And that's not necessarily the best way to pray the Rosary. For me, it was a time thing, and what's the difference? It's 15 minutes. In the words of my mom, she would always tell me this, ¿Qué te duele? What hurts you so much? What hurts you so much? Well, now in retrospect, I know what was hurting me so much is that there was probably things that were not of God in my heart, and the Rosary was squeezing them out. There's the story of St. Dominic when they brought somebody who had a bad spirit on them. And apparently he was like the Gerasene demoniac in the Bible. He had a few bad spirits on him. And so they prayed the rosary, and with each Hail Mary, one of these bad things got out of this guy. All that is to say, when you pray the rosary, God is present. And where God is present, evil cannot be present. So I invite you to pray this rosary for the intention of eradicating evil from our homes.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into hell. On the third day he arose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of God, the Father Almighty. From thence he shall come to judge the living and the dead. For persecuted Christians and the enemies of the church, our fathers who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. For an increase in our lives of the virtues of faith, hope, and charity. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. The 5 sorrowful mysteries. The first sorrowful mystery, the agony in the garden. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy. The second sorrowful mystery, the scourging at the pillar. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy. The third sorrowful mystery, the crowning with thorns. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy. The fourth sorrowful mystery, the carrying of the cross. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy. The fifth sorrowful mystery, the crucifixion. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To thee do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy towards us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary, pray for us, O Holy Mother of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, my brothers and sisters. The exposition of the Blessed Sacrament is going to follow right now. And what this means is, as I said yesterday, the moment in Mass where the priest elevates the host is a moment of adoration. And we are going to kind of like just stay right there in that moment of adoration and just adore the Lord. Now, I mentioned yesterday that silence is good and appropriate, but there's also the possibility to pray other prayers, to pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet as we will later on, and also to receive instruction, to receive a teaching within the context of extended Eucharistic adoration is also approved in the instruction of how to go about Eucharistic adoration. But just a real quick word on what we use for Eucharistic adoration. The golden vessel that looks like a sunburst, it's called a monstrance, and it comes from the Latin word mostrare, which means to show. We have English words demonstrate from this root. Spanish words mostrar means to show. So what is this monstrance showing? Jesus. Jesus present in the Eucharist, really present, truly present, not a symbol, not a metaphor. This is our teaching, and we have lived by it, and many have died for it. The vestments that the priest uses, this is called a cope, which is another word for a cape, and it is a vestment that bespeaks authority. I'm going to talk a little bit about authority in my reflection a little bit later on. But long story short, it's not about me. Something has been given to me for the sake of your salvation. And so to represent that, to almost even help me enter into that, there's these vestments. Now over here, there's the vestment that the priest puts around his shoulders and grabs the monstrance to do the blessing. It's called a humeral veil. You medical professionals know that this is the humerus bone here, and it's actually, that's where we get the word humor from, because if you tickle somebody underneath there, they laugh. I'm not making that up. That's the root of, I didn't make this stuff up, I'm just giving it to you. But the humeral veil covers the priest's hands. Now, many people think that it's because this is so holy, and Jesus is holy, that nobody is worthy to touch it. But that doesn't make sense, because the priest touches the sacred host at every Mass. The priest's hands are consecrated. So why does the priest cover his hands? The priest covers his hands because when the blessing comes, it's not the priest present who's giving the blessing, but Jesus himself. So as for there to be no confusion, the priest covers his hands, and Jesus bestows the blessing. So that'll come at the very end. So good things come for those who wait. With that brief instruction on this aspect of Eucharistic adoration, we will enter shortly into this moment of Eucharistic adoration. Please kneel. O salutaris hostia, que celi panis hostia. We adore you, most holy Lord Jesus Christ, here and in all your churches throughout the world. And we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Please be seated. As we heard in the gospel on Sunday, Jesus went into the desert. The Holy Spirit brought Jesus into the desert to be tempted by the devil. And Jesus fasted for 40 days, and after 40 days, he was hungry. And the first temptation was for him to magically appear food the easy way, because he can. If you know from your catechism, the three things that we should be focusing on in Lent is prayer, penance, prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. We have a little display out there by the app Hallow, pray, fast, give. Those are three words that we need to renew our understanding of. Did you know that the word breakfast comes from breaking your fast during the night? That's where we get the word breakfast from. You know, after a monk would celebrate Mass in the morning, he would break his fast, because perhaps you knew this, and I'm sure you do. We're in McKinney, St. Michael's Parish, that we're required to fast at least 1 hour before reception of Holy Communion. Do you know this? It's okay if you don't. It's probably not your fault, honestly. But this is true. And why do we do this? Well, in fact, fasting, there's a number of aspects to fasting. First of all, let's break down fasting, and let's break down why Jesus was fasting right then and there in the desert. Fasting is all throughout the Bible. Basically, what it means is that you have to take a step back from eating. And there's different ways of doing this. There's the Daniel fast, right? The book of Daniel, it's basically like a vegan fast. I don't know if you've ever done this. I did this probably because I did this one Lent, and it's like the Orthodox monks do this fast, where they fast from everything that's made from an animal, including cheese and milk. It's like kind of like they go vegan. And this is so that they prepare themselves to receive communion on Easter. It was quite hard to go vegan. Maybe some of you guys are already, full on in that's a lifestyle. But I'm from Texas. I like my meat. So it was a worthy offering, and let me tell you, once we got to Easter, God is good. A lot of times people ask Franciscans, well, don't Franciscans like animals? And a Franciscan sister told me this. I didn't invent this. Franciscan sister, with her sweetness, says, oh, yes, we love animals. They taste good. The Lord has given us the bounty, authority over the earth for us to partake. But if somebody feels that they don't want to partake, that's totally up to you. But there's those fasts. That's the Daniel fast. It's already in the Bible. There's an Esther fast, which I just learned about, and it's actually very akin to what the Muslims do during Ramadan. It's when the sun comes up, you don't eat or drink, and when the sun goes down, then you can then eat and drink again. Many fasts in between. The church fast, meaning what everyone who is of age from 14 to 75, unless you have a medical reason not to, is that you have one meal and 2 snacks that together don't equal the meal. And the days that we are required to fast as Catholics is Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. All of us. All of us. And there's other fasts in between. There's a bread and water fast. There's, all these other different things. I'm sure there's many resources out there that you can duly inform yourself. I want to talk about the spiritual effects of fasting. Jesus went to the desert and fasted for 40 days, and in the three synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, this preceded his public ministry, meaning he had a period of preparation through fasting before he went out and preached the good news. This is a necessary thing to prepare your heart for when you serve. And all of us are called to serve in some way or another. There's different ministries that the Lord gives us through his Holy Spirit. I am exercising right now the ministry of preaching. And for this, I had to prepare. I had to prepare through years of study, of theology and whatnot. But I also have to prepare my heart. I got to pray. I have to enter into this time. We were giving food out to the homeless in New York City. And I'm not sure exactly. Okay, I remember now. We had a group of young adults from all over the country. And so we had to spread out our New Yorkers because there's people who didn't know how to get through the subways and whatnot. And so I was with this one group, and I don't know how exactly it happened, but I was with the group with these two young women that actually they looked like models. I'm not, it's like, hey, what are you gonna do? Women are beautiful. But these two young women, they looked like models. And so there I am walking the streets of New York City, these shady alleys with these two women who were not as street savvy as I was. So they were like, oh my gosh, look at this. And I'm just like, yo, are we safe here? And then outside of Grand Central Station, right by St. Agnes Church on 42nd Street, there was a pizzeria. And outside the pizzeria, there was this young man, and he was begging for food. He was begging for money. And we go up to him, and we just say, hey, bro, did you want food? Because we have some food. And we engaged in a conversation. And he said that he was there. I remember he had his arm kind of like this as he was asking for money. A little bit shorter than I was, stocky young man. And he just looked at me and he said, are you a preacher? And I thought, yes, I am a preacher. And he said, when you preach, you better prepare. And I was like, amen. And I do. I try to prepare. You better preach using the Word of God. And it's probably the most memorable theological lesson, I think, of those years. And then he told me, and this is part of the reason why you need to prepare. He said, you know what? Before you came about, I was thinking of doing someone harm tonight. And I said, in the name of Jesus, don't. Maybe this is precisely why a preacher came at this moment. And I said, what's your name? He didn't want to tell me his name. And I kept on talking to him. He told me about his life that was filled with tragedy. Tragedy upon tragedy upon tragedy. He told me about when he was a little boy, his mother, strung out on drugs, burned him with an iron, and that's why his arm was stuck in place. On and on. And finally, I didn't realize, but he had one of his hands closed the whole time. And he said, you know what? You know what they call me? And he used the word for a knife that's made in jail. If you know that word, you're one of me. And he said, I have one right now, and this is what I intend to do. And he told me. And I said, in the name of Jesus, give me that right now. See, your preparation isn't just so that you can have a good message. Your preparation for the ministry, for what God has called you to do, is so that you can bring the light into this world, because the darkness, my brothers and sisters, is out there, and the darkness seems to be growing. But as the Word of God says, the light has come into the world, and the darkness has not overcome it. So when Jesus encountered the enemy, Satan, the devil, he went to go do battle. And there's something about us fasting and doing battle that are connected. So I am inviting you. I am informing you. Let us fast, because, my brothers and sisters, the battle is upon us. And there's a saying in English, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. In Holy Scripture, we read in Matthew chapter 24 about the parable of the weeds and the wheat. It goes something along like this, that someone who owned a field planted good seed, and at night an enemy sowed weeds amongst the weeds, the wheat, so that when the wheat began to shoot up, they also saw the weeds. And the servant asked the master, oh, some evil person has done this. What do we do? Do we just cut all do we pull the weeds out? And the master said, no, do not pull the weeds out, because if you do, you will also pull out the wheat. Let it grow, and then when it comes to fruition, we will separate it, is the parable. Now, to be honest with you, you know how you grow in understanding of the Scripture? When I heard that, and I preached this before, I said, well, like in our minds, there's good thoughts and bad thoughts, and we need the Lord to kind of sort them out. Because I heard a pre-psychologist say that. And so I said, hey, he's pretty good, he's solid, that sounds good to me. But if you continue to read in Scripture, and remember, the first interpreter of Scripture is Scripture itself. Jesus himself interprets this parable. And he says that the sower is Jesus. The field is the world. The good seed, he says, is the people of the kingdom of God. The weeds, he says, are the people of the evil one. And the enemy is the devil. And the harvesters are the angels. Now, I am all about keeping it positive. I am all about hoping for the best, and when you see difficult situations, you have to learn how to hope beyond hope. But the Word of God teaches us something very clear, that we are living in a world where there has been wheat sown and weeds. And my question to you, my brothers and sisters, is who are you? Now, forgive me if this is a little bit up front, but this is kind of my job, to inform you of the reality of evil out there. It's something that I needed someone to tell me. Earlier today, I had lunch with the staff, and they asked me when I began to think about the priesthood, and I told them the G version. I might share with you guys the PG-13 version. You see, as I said earlier, my mom introduced the rosary to us. She had a reversion when I was already a teenager. We didn't really go to church. I actually wasn't even baptized. And she came back and she said, we're Catholic, and you are going to enroll in RCIA to get baptized. We're becoming Catholic. And I said, okay, that sounds good to me. I like it. Some of my friends were Catholic. I thought, it's like, I like the culture, I like the traditions. I said yes for certain reasons. But there was things in my heart and in our life that needed to be purified. There were trajectories that were being formed in my life that weren't bad per se. I wasn't, quote unquote, a bad kid, but I wasn't a good one. And you gardeners in the congregation know that if you have a patch of land and you don't put anything on it, something is going to grow there. And that was me. I was lukewarm, neither good nor bad. The guy that was sitting in the back of the church, like I said on Sunday, no judgment to the people sitting in the back. I do pray that the Lord moves in your heart like he moved in my heart. And then someone invited me to World Youth Day. And I'm not going to lie. When I first heard the invitation, I thought, that's for the people like, the altar servers and stuff like that. No offense. Like, no, that's not for me. I said in my hypocrisy, at least I'm consistent. At least I don't pretend to be holy. How foolish I was. And when I remember it was a seminarian that came and invited us to World Youth Day. He was talking about the Pope coming to this place and youth from all over the world. And I can't explain it, but for the first time in my life, I felt like a call to something. I felt like my heart being drawn to it. I didn't know what it was. It had never happened before. So I thought, well, I can at least ask him a question. So afterwards, I go up to this young man, and I was going to ask, hey, so what are some of the details about the trip? I don't think I can go. I had my speech planned. But I tapped him on the shoulder, and he turned around to me, and he said, God wants you to go to World Youth Day. He said with conviction, and I just said, yes, he does. He does. I couldn't deny it. It was a moment of grace, and I have no doubt that it was because of the constant prayers of all the people in my family who were praying for me. But in order to go to World Youth Day, I had to go on a retreat. And I had so many reasons not to go on this retreat. So many good reasons. I was in high school, and I said, oh, well, actually there's a college come and see, and, scholarships, and, you got to think about the future, and, the church is good and stuff. And this was my excuse, and they said, if you don't come to this retreat, you can't go on the trip. And so I begrudgingly said yes to going on this retreat. And I thought everyone on this retreat was absolutely crazy. They prayed. They sang songs. These people were nuts, I thought. No, I'm just here. I'm just doing my time. I'm just here sitting back in the back seat. But God had a different plan. And what I'm about to share with you, I don't usually share in public because, people just think you're weird, but I was there. I saw this. And what I'm about to share with you is not it's not to instill fear. It's to share what God has done in my life. We were there the Friday night. Didn't sleep the entire night because we were playing football where we were supposed to be sleeping. We broke a whole bunch of tables there at the church and stuff like that. And, anyway. So the next day, I was falling asleep in all the talks. That's why I have great compassion when somebody falls asleep on me. Because I just look at them and I just say, Lord, get him. But I fell asleep in all the talks. And then at the Saturday night, they brought us to Eucharistic adoration. And honestly, it was the first time they explained to us what Eucharistic adoration was. And for the first time in my life, I think I actually prayed. I was actually praying on my own. And right then, the young man behind me, it was a movable, it was chairs. It wasn't benches, it was chairs. He just falls over and is shaking quite visibly. And I look and I think, oh my gosh, he's having a seizure. And all the leaders began to kind of like, give him space, and they said, we need to take him to another room. And so they asked me, can you help us take him to another room? And so, still lift weights a little bit, At the time, I don't know how many pounds he was, but by myself, I picked him up, carried him over to the youth room, which was around the way, and I put him on an old, sofa bed that was there, probably donated to the youth group. And he was visibly shaking. And one of the retreat leaders came in and said, go call a priest. And I thought, what? Call an ambulance. These people are nuts, I thought. And then the retreat leader just said, peace, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. He just kept on praying. Peace, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. And the young man was shaking, continued to shake. And I said, there's something not right here. And I thought he was going to hurt himself in the sofa bed because his arm was going in between, who knows what's in between the cushions. And I said, maybe we should move him to the carpet. And by now we were 5 men, most of us football players, and 5 of us tried to lift this skinny little kid up, and we couldn't. And I had just lifted him up 5 minutes ago. And so that's when I began to say, peace, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Peace, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. We all just kept on saying that until in a second he stops shaking. He leans up, and with his eyes still closed and in a voice that no human being can make, he said, praise me. Praise me. The retreat leader yelled, no, praise Jesus. And at that moment there was a scream, and then the boy began to shake again. I was 50 yards away in 2.5 seconds. They turned to us and they said, maybe you should go back into the chapel. And I said, yes, that sounds like a good idea. And in my youth, this was my logic at the time. I don't know what that was, but that was evil. And that evil thing said, not to praise Jesus, therefore Jesus is God. Not perfect logic, but it made sense to me. Because sometimes you could just feel, and I still pray for that young man. That young man was in some dark things. And I do think that they did find some spiritual help for him. But what that did for me is that proved 3 things. That God is real. And through the rest of the retreat, I learned that God loves me. Because you can be convinced that God is real, but not necessarily know that God loves you. You could say that, there's a creator, but to know that this creator loves you is a step. And I was convinced of that. And I was convinced also that there was a battle going on for my soul. And up until that point, I was letting the wrong side win for lack of doing anything. I was on the wrong side because I didn't do anything. What does Scripture say in Revelation? You are neither hot nor cold, and so therefore I will spew you out of my mouth. You are lukewarm. And I realized in that moment that was me. I was lukewarm. I can't help but mention that there was a biblical exegesis on that scripture that said that what John was talking about in Revelation was coffee. It's neither hot nor cold. You spit out coffee. I'm not making this up. I'm just relating to you what I've read. And so here we are. We began with a question of fasting. And now we're in a question of lukewarmness. Look, if we fast just so that our lukewarmness is diminished, then amen. But I also want you to fast because there is a spiritual battle going on that you should be made aware of. One of our priests, God rest him, Father Andrew Apostoli, maybe some of you guys have seen him on EWTN, he related this story. He did not share this on EWTN because it's a little bit, he said that he was on an airplane and they offered him some food. And, very joyfully, Father Andrew said, oh, no, I can't. And they insisted, no, Father, please eat. And he said, no, I'm fasting. I'm fasting. Thank you. And then after the flight attendant left, the very kind-looking woman that was sitting right next to him leaned over and said, I'm fasting too. And Father Andrew was like, oh, that's what, it's Lent. We've got to keep our fast going. And then she said, I'm a witch. And I'm fasting for the proliferation of abortion throughout the world. Imagine how the rest of that flight was there on that aisle. What do you say after that? Be aware. Be aware. Somebody sent me a quote from Theodore of Mopsuestia. The devil doesn't sleep. The devil doesn't eat. The devil doesn't rest. The only thing that we can be better than the devil in is in our humility, because he has none, for he is filled with pride. And so some of these dangers are real. And some of these things, just quite frankly, need to be known. And I invite you to also just think about how you can become more free to love God here. Prayer, adoration is good. If I could just give a quick catechesis. There are actions of the enemy upon us. On Sunday, we talked about temptation. Temptation is universal. There's temptation, oppression, obsession, and possession. Temptation is very common. Possession is extremely rare. But sometimes some people feel that they're going through a particular time of spiritual warfare. And depending on some of the things that are happening, it could be an oppression. And if there's some interesting things happening, it could be an obsession, which means that, sometimes you hear about things happening in a house and something like that. Most of the time, it really is something that's just supposed to lead us to prayer. Did you know? An exorcist said that if people understood the power of confession and how confession has more exorcism power than even the rite itself. The rite of exorcism comes when somebody is already have been taken and is in a spiritual situation that is very precarious but very rare. But for us that are in the battle, in the trenches, confession is so powerful at casting out evil. If you feel you're going through a difficult time, go to confession. If you feel that temptations are all around, go to confession. If you feel like you keep on falling in the same thing, go to confession. God never tires of showing us mercy. Let us never tire of asking for it. And fasting. Remember when Jesus came down from Mount Tabor, transfigured before the apostles, Peter, James, and John. He came down, and right away there was a possessed boy. And the father says, this has happened since he was a boy. The demon tries to destroy him, throwing him into the fire or into the water. And then he turns to Jesus. If you can do something, please do. And Jesus looks at him and says, if you can? All things are possible for those who believe. And then he prayed a prayer that I personally pray often. I believe, help my unbelief. And Jesus cast this demon out of the boy. And then the disciples came and asked, why were we not able to cast out this demon? And Jesus said, some of these spirits can only be cast out by prayer and fasting. We need to fast. Now, is this some sort of epic spiritual battle, this cosmic warfare happening? Yeah, it is. But I need it also for my own conversion. I know it doesn't look like it, and I know that you're not supposed to say it at risk of losing your own merit, but I fast. I know. You know, Padre Pio fasted for 30 years, and he was, full, huggable, kind of like friar, right? There's many saints who fasted for years or only subsisted on the Eucharist, and the Lord had a way of sustaining them. But for me, my fasting, and I need to share this with you, I'm a choleric. Maybe you guys already noticed. A choleric personality is somewhat fiery, stubborn, but also, leadership qualities. I'm a choleric. Sometimes a personality is something that we have, and we need to learn how to drive it. It's like a car. It's like you got to learn how to drive your car. And my personality is fiery. And Lord, forgive me, sometimes I got fiery over the wrong things. This happened in the office. I was convinced that this one young lady had done something wrong. I knew it because I saw it, or I thought I saw it, until she showed me the chain of emails saying that, no, I didn't do it. I felt horrible, thinking I was insisting that I was right. Choleric. And so when I fast, it's interesting because I still have the energy to do what I need to do, but I don't have the energy to lose my patience. Isn't that interesting? Imagine a day where you don't lose your patience. Yes, moms, it's possible. Dads, it can happen, especially if you're driving into Dallas in the morning commute. Can you imagine not losing your patience? People driving as they do. See, we have things that need to be cast out through prayer and fasting. But within our hearts, the devil tries to play with certain lies. Remember the first reading on Sunday, when the serpent asked Eve what she was doing and if she wanted to partake of the forbidden fruit. And she said, oh, no, we can't because there's a promise. And if you read in Scripture what she understood the commandment to be, it's not what God the Father said. It's like sometimes we have a little bit of a warped understanding, and it's like a lie. And there are many lies. And so I want to invite you here tonight to renounce the lies that many times have held us captive. And sometimes we believe the lie and it affects other areas of our life. It affects our decisions. It affects the way we interact. We are like PTSD of the spirit. We've been wounded. And this forms a lie. Like, for example, a woman is treated harshly by her boyfriend. And then from that horrible experience, she says, all men are liars. That's a lie. It's not true. But this has a way of directing people's lives. In spiritual direction, we call this bitter roots. Sometimes we make promises without even realizing it. And those promises hold us. And part of spiritual direction is finding these kind of like knots in our soul and untying it so that we can be free. Another lie that's very common is like, I can't be forgiven. That's a lie. Oh, you don't know what I did, Father. Like, I do know who Jesus is, and he can forgive you. I believed lies. I believed the lie that no one like me could be a priest. I believed that, and that held me back for years. And when that was undone, the Lord brought a healing. So I have a list of common lies. And I want to invite you before the presence of the Eucharist to renounce these lies. Now, this is voluntary. And some of these lies aren't going to apply to you. But some of them will. And so I will lead a prayer in the name of Jesus and say, I renounce, and then say a lie, a series of lies, and then I will invite you all to respond in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I renounce all those lies. Now, just so that you know, what I'm about to share with you has been brought up for church approval. And it is a process that has gone through the rigors of theological inspection. But it is also just a pious way of casting out the darkness within our own hearts. So if you so choose to say this prayer with me, I invite you to please stand. Once again, this is optional. If you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel you're in a place, that's okay. You don't have to say these words. The response is, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce all those lies. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I am all alone, that I have to do it all by myself, and that no one is there for me because they do not care for me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie I'm not good enough, that I will never succeed, that I always fail. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that something is wrong with me, I'm all alone. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that joy and happiness is not for me, that life is only a rat race and meaningless. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce all those lies. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that God always demands. He asks a lot and gives little. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I am not God's favorite, that he loves others more than me. He doesn't care about me. He is very distant. He can't be bothered by me. I renounce the lies, my sin, my shame is too great. He can't forgive me, that God has given up on me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I destroyed God's plan for my life, that I have no future. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that my life is hopeless, I can never change, that I always have to hide the real me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce all those lies. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that bad things always happen to me. I live under a cloud. I've always been picked on, and I always will be picked on. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I'm not normal. I'm like this since I was a child. I was born this way. I renounce the lie that I've been left out and forgotten, that God made a mistake when he created me, a man, when he created me, a woman. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I am a victim, that I can't do anything right, that I'm powerless. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I'm doomed to live through life like I'm cursed, because I'm stupid or easily thrown away, I'm damaged goods. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce all those lies. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that my work, my profession is deficient, that I'm not a good worker. I'm on the outside, I don't measure up. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I am emotionally crippled because my family was dysfunctional. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that the rebukes of my mother, the rebukes of my father, sister, or brother was my fault, that I deserved their rebukes. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that the divorce of my parents was my fault, that their fighting and my siblings' failings was my fault. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that if people knew the real me, they would not like me. I renounce the lie that I am a burden. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I am a big zero, a big nothing, that that's the story of my life and I just have to live with it. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I have to please everybody to be accepted. I have to impress them to show them that I'm somebody. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that showing emotion means I'm weak, and so I have to be tough, assertive, aggressive. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I have to earn God's love. I have to prove that I'm good enough. In the name of In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I must please everyone, or else I will be an outsider and not part of the inner circle. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that if I always have to do the right thing, then everyone will be happy, that it all depends on me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that most people I know are inept or stupid or dumb, that I know more than most people, especially the ones I live with. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I see more clearly than the other, that I can fix them if they will only let me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I'm not addicted to overeating, the internet, too much entertainment, alcohol, tobacco, porn, drugs, that I don't need anyone's help in changing this. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that I should be given the authority, that I should be the one in charge because I'm the most qualified. Nobody around me is as good as I am. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that if I let people in my life, they will only hurt me. I renounce the lie that love is not for me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that it is a matter of time before something bad happens, that nothing will ever get better, that evil is more persistent in enslaving me than God is persistent in loving and freeing me. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie that it is useless to pray, that I've always been this way, that it's a part of me. I will never change. I've been like this since I was young. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce the lie, those damnable lies, and all the lies that I have just renounced. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. The response is, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce those spirits. I renounce the spirit of failure, of being unwanted, the spirit of being thrown away, the spirit of being trash. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I renounce those spirits. I renounce the spirit of anger, the spirit of resentment, the spirit of bitterness, of hatred, rage, the spirit of unforgiveness, the spirit of holding on to a grudge, of insecurity, loneliness, abandoned, being lost, feeling like an orphan and hopeless. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I renounce the spirit of rejection, an orphan spirit in my own family, community, the spirit of feeling fatherless, motherless, rootless, homeless, of being hurt, the spirit of insecurity, of not belonging, that I do not fit in anywhere, the fear of rejection, condemnation, being found inadequate. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I renounce the spirit of fear, fear of rejection, fear of being condemned, self-condemnation, self-loathing, loneliness, being found out as inadequate, fear of death, of murder, fear of suicide. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I renounce the spirit of indifference of the suffering of others. I renounce the spirit of being in bondage to grief for past sins. I renounce any possible spirit associated with the sin, like abortion, adultery, scandals, abuse. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I renounce the spirit of the fear of living, of jealousy, envy, disregard of people's rights, depression, self-pity, holding on to past hurts. I renounce the spirit of wasting time through escapes that seem to be innocent but take so much of my time. I renounce any spirit of lust. I renounce any spirit of being enslaved. I renounce any spirit of self-rejection, shame, of having an obsession with my own body. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I renounce the spirit of overactivity, of workaholism, of mistaking overactivity as being essential for ministry work, good works proving that I'm a super leader, that I can do it all. I renounce the spirit of pride. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. And in a moment of silence, I invite you, if there's anything that before the Lord, any lie that you want to renounce, in the silence of your heart, take this moment to renounce it. Heavenly Father, we come before you, your children, and beg that you take us back again. You will never abandon us. We come before you, desirous of your love. We pray that you may pour your Holy Spirit upon us and seal us with your Holy Spirit. Heal us. We pray, Lord, for anyone whose heart still feels wounded from these lies, We pray that you may continue to heal them. We pray that these things that have been cast out in your holy name go directly to the Eucharistic presence of our Lord, never to bother us again. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Please be seated. And now, brothers and sisters, as I mentioned at the beginning, I believe that there is going to be a collection taken up. We'll have a moment of silence as we prepare for this and as we prepare our hearts for the prayer of the Divine Mercy Chaplain. Invite you, if you know the lyrics, to sing along, to Come Holy Ghost. Come Holy Ghost, Creator blessed, and in our hearts take up thy rest. Come with thy grace and heavenly aid, to fill our hearts which thou hast made, to fill our hearts which thou hast made. O Comforter, to thee we cry, thou heavenly gift of God Most High, thou fount of love and fire of love, and sweet anointing from above, and sweet anointing from above. The Divine Mercy Chaplet, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. You expired, Jesus, but the source of life gushed forth for souls, and the ocean of mercy opened up for the whole world. O fount of life, unfathomable divine mercy, envelop the whole world and empty yourself out upon us. O blood and water which gushed forth from the heart of Jesus as a fount of mercy for us. O blood and water which gushed forth from the heart of Jesus as a fount of mercy for us. O blood and water which gushed forth from the heart of Jesus as a fount of mercy for us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into hell. On the third day he rose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father, God the Father Almighty. From there he will come to judge the living and the dead. Eternal Father, we offer you the body and blood, soul, and divinity of your dearly beloved Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. For the sake of his sorrowful passion. 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 Eternal Father, we offer you the body and blood, soul, and divinity of your dearly beloved Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. For the sake of his sorrowful passion. 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 Eternal Father, we offer you the body and blood, soul, and divinity of your dearly beloved Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. For the sake of his sorrowful passion. 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 Eternal Father, we offer you the body and blood, soul, and divinity of your dearly beloved Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. For the sake of his sorrowful passion. 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 Eternal Father, we offer you the body and blood, soul and divinity of your dearly beloved Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. For the sake of his sorrowful passion. 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 Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Eternal God, in whom mercy is endless and the treasury of compassion inexhaustible, look kindly upon us and increase your mercy in us, that in difficult moments we may not despair, nor become despondent, but with great confidence submit ourselves to your holy will, which is love and mercy itself. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We'll have a moment of silence before benediction. Please kneel. Tantum ergo sacramentum bene meum cernui et antiquum documentum Paritui Preste fide supplementum sensu defectui genitori genitoque nascet iubi
You have given them bread from heaven. Let us pray. O God, who in this wonderful sacrament have left us a memorial of your passion, grant us, we pray, so to revere the sacred mysteries of your body and blood, that we may always experience in ourselves the fruits of your redemption, who live and reign with God the Father in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever. Blessed be God. Blessed be his holy name. Blessed be Jesus Christ, true God and true man. Blessed be the name of Jesus. Blessed be his most sacred heart. Blessed be his most precious blood. Blessed be Jesus in the most holy sacrament of the altar. Blessed be the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete. Blessed be the great Mother of God, Mary most holy. Blessed be her holy and immaculate conception. Blessed be her glorious assumption. Blessed be the name of Mary, Virgin and Mother. Blessed be Saint Joseph, her most chaste spouse. Blessed be God in his angels and in his saints. May the heart of Jesus in the most blessed sacrament be praised, adored, and loved with grateful affection at every moment in all the tabernacles of the world, even until the end of time. Amen. Holy God, we praise thy name. Lord of all, bow before thee. All on earth. Infinite thy vast domain.
You may be seated. Thank you all very much for being with us here on the second night of our mission. Tomorrow we will conclude at the same time at 7 p.m. tomorrow on Wednesday. Thank you all very much for being here. I just want to invite you that for some reason, if you cannot come tomorrow, perhaps invite somebody who you feel needs a spiritual lift, somebody who needs a renewal, because God is faithful. And I get the feeling that God has restored many hearts here tonight. And so if you know somebody who's in need of that, well, we'll be here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you. God bless you. Hope to see you tomorrow.